Like, it's one of those days that I'm thinking of the worst case scenarios that could happen to me without even a lot of basis. And my mind just is not thinking about the worst case scenarios. I think I remember reading somewhere that if you've gone through like a very traumatic childhood experience that made you feel so unsafe, and you never dealt with that trauma or that your PTSD, what happens is that you could carry that fear of worst case scenarios when you're older. And it's the same thing that my therapist told me when I was like going through a therapy, that if you had unresolved childhood trauma, how you react to it when you were just a child will be carried out when you get or when you become adult, hence the anxiety, because you constantly feel like you're unsafe. And now the question is, what am I going to do with that information? So I'm going to the mall. Instead of getting stuck in my room with depression and anxiety, I want to deal with it in the most productive way possible that I know. Honestly, like deep inside, I just really want to cave in my bed and not go out at all. I guess that's what happens when, when you're going through anxiety or like depression. It's like nothing in this world makes you feel good. And I want to be productive instead while I'm feeling it. I'm gonna go to the mall, I'm gonna get my wax down on my legs, and then I'm gonna buy some stuff that I would find useful, especially for like vlogging and work. And let's see, hopefully it'll make me feel better. Oftentimes it does, but there's some situations that's just like nothing makes you like really feel good, and that is okay. If you're going through the same thing, it happens. Like, major percentage of our lives is not thrilling or exciting or happy, and we just have to like acknowledge that and normalize it. But depression shouldn't be normal either. In a sense, like, I mean, it is normal, it happens to a lot of people, but severe depression isn't something that we should just like brush it off or give up on. We should continue like really fighting it. I wish I could say something a lot better and meaningful, but honestly, like, my mind right now is not so motherfucking inspired. I'm sorry. I wish I could say something like a bit more motivating. I probably would feel better tomorrow when I wake up and have something a lot more substantial to say about depression and anxiety and how I deal with it. But this is you seeing me struggling with it. Yeah. Okay, so I also want to show you what I'm wearing going to the mall. And I get these comments from my family or friends that I'm wearing a little bit too much, especially my boyfriend. But I don't know, for some reason, this is the most comfortable clothing style for me. I guess it's the fabric, and it feels like my body could breathe. Like when you're plus size like me, I used to be plus size, now I'm no longer plus size, but if you're like someone like me who struggles with body image issue, that I constantly feel like I'm fat, clothing that makes me feel like it's hugging my body so perfectly gives so much security. And yeah, I just want to say that because I feel like a lot of people get so uncomfortable with like open clothes like this, but honestly, it's just a level of comfort. And sometimes it also makes you feel like a bad bitch, but honestly, for me, it's the level of comfort that I feel, which is the most important thing when it comes to like fashion and style. So I ended up going to Miniso and I got some floor mats for my room and the bathroom. So cute, like I'm so tempted to get them all, but my impulse ass needs to be controlled. Probably more stuff that I could find here. Like kitchen utensils. Okay, so I just got home and I ended up not getting my legs waxed. I ended up like shopping a few stuff for the house. I got doormats like you've seen on the Miniso store. And then I got some mugs and then I got some vlogging tools where I'm putting my phone right now. I did not like really plan this vlogging situation. I honestly like decided about it so abruptly that I did not even prepare tools. So whenever that I'm vlogging, I always end up holding my phone. If not holding my phone, I am putting it like on a desk and using like boxes and stuff, which is kind of like embarrassing. It's like, it's so irresponsible. It's not like I couldn't afford them. It's just being irresponsible and being so impulsive. So how do I feel now after leaving the house? I feel a lot better. I feel like if I stayed in my bed and caved in, I probably would feel so guilty for not feeling productive, which is gonna add to the anxiety that I was like suffering from. And I was talking to my boyfriend earlier as well while I was on my way to the mall, and I was opening up about how I am struggling and yeah, and I think that the most important takeaway for today is that it's not easy sometimes. And sometimes you watch those videos about depression and anxiety and how you can cope with it, and they make it seem like, oh, here's the solution, it's gonna get fixed, it's gonna be great. And in reality, it's not. You know, you can do all these healthy solutions for yourself, but it's not like it's not like what you see on movies or see on some documentaries. It's not colorful, it's not vibrant. It's still a bit, you know, it's still a bit gloomy sometimes. And it's okay. It's okay if it's not like the movies. So I was talking to him, and that also like really was helpful. So one thing that can really help you if you are going through the same struggle, like you would get like anxiety attacks, or sometimes you just get depressed, or you have like manic depression, just having people around you makes a huge difference. People that you trust and people who care about you so genuinely. And I'm so thankful that I have my family and my boyfriend to be there for me when I experience this, because I can just, you know, I think just talking about it and just expressing how you feel lifts up a little bit of weight that you're carrying on your back. And yeah, I guess that's an advice that I can give you. I'm sorry, like I'm not so articulate right now, and my diction is not at its best, because in my head I'm still like thinking of how to feel better and how to do this vlog thing. So my niece is actually like looking at me right now. Say hi.
Hi.
That's her. A lot of people would say that we look very similar. Show your face so they can see you. So we get these comments that we look very similar. Even one time her teacher thought I was her mom, which was insulting, but at the same time it's a bit of a compliment because I have a pretty niece. I live with my niece and my nephew, which is another story, and you're probably gonna see a lot of them on this channel. Bye, I'm gonna take a shower. Hey guys, it's 8 in the morning and we're just starting the day. I mean, technically, I'm not really starting my day. I woke up like 4 in the morning. I couldn't go back to sleep. I tried to, but I really had a bad nightmare, which is a story for another day because I always get like nightmare almost every night. I feel like recently my sleep has been a lot kinder to me, that I could sleep like 4 or 5 days in a week without a nightmare. Yeah, and I'm just like, I just woke up the kids because they have a class. It's 8, I think it's almost 8:20, if my math is right. Yeah, and I started working. I still haven't washed my face, but I went straight to my laptop around 4:30-ish, or actually even before 4:30-ish, and then started working, started taking my work calls around like 5 in the morning. Had a call with my team, and then I also answered a bunch of emails and a lot of work stuff. And then I had a coffee, which I will share with you the coffee that I drink, because I feel like that product is so amazing for my weight loss. Yeah, and then I'm gonna go wash my face now and I'll go back to work.
Halfway nowhere, what you doing here in these silent hills all by yourself? I know this feeling, we could fly together. Here go my hopes up through the stormy weather.
I feel so fat with this t-shirt. So I just want to jump on the camera in the middle of my work to talk about another realization that I've had since this year, actually, that I was able to like really conclude it, which should be interesting for people my age. Okay, so going back on our topic yesterday, how am I feeling now? Well, I woke up with a nightmare, like I was saying earlier, but the moment that I had my first sip of my coffee, I started feeling really well. And especially when I started like really working, because I felt productive. And I noticed that my pattern is that I depend a lot with my work. I depend a lot, and it's so much. I depend my happiness, my self-worth, my value as a person, and my peace when my work is doing really well, when I'm so productive. And I think it kind of like stems from how I grew up very young. I grew up in a household of very young people. I was the youngest, and my siblings, we lost our parents really, really young, and they did not know how to raise a kid like me. And how it ended up was I was kind of, I would say, borderline bullied at home, and made fun of for a lot of things that I was, for a lot of mistakes that I made very young, and that made me feel that I was worthless then. So when I started like really working, I was only 17 when I started working, and I was doing good. I was like, oh my God, finally I found something that I can be good at. Finally, I'm a valuable person. Finally, I deserve a place in this planet. And because of that, I protect my work so much. Because it brought me so much security that I literally had zero growing up. So when my work becomes shaky, or I'm struggling with work, I'm also struggling a lot internally. And I was thinking about this like since like last year, that I kind of like recognized it, but I haven't like fully concluded that it is the situation until early this year. So early this year, when I concluded it, I started working out on it by finding things that could be source of my happiness as well. But it's so difficult as someone who always feels not safe, someone who feels like her worth is equal to her work output. And I was like, okay, if I'm gonna find other source of being productive, and if I want to find something to do other than my work, I need it to be something I'm extremely passionate about, which gave me so much insecurities early this year too, because I couldn't find anything that I'm extremely passionate about. Because when I talk about passion, I'm talking about one thing that you truly enjoy so much that you're really fucking good at it. I felt like my whole life I've always been mediocre of things. And that the only thing that I excel at my work is because I'm a hard-working person. I grind so hard. It's not because I'm naturally talented. And that reminds me of this Taylor Swift song that I always try and try. So it stressed me so bad I couldn't find what I was gonna do, or what I'm gonna do. And I put a pause on it and just, lived my life, going to the gym, found distractions. But then just recently, about like a week ago or 2 weeks ago, I finally realized that there is something in my life that I've always wanted to do, but I couldn't because I had so much fear that I'm gonna fail. I have so much fear because it's an investment of time and money. And I was so scared of investing because what if I fail? What if I don't succeed? It's gonna be so embarrassing because that passion was a bit ambitious, you know? And I decided that I'm gonna do it because recently it's been so shaky at work, like last week, and it triggers so much anxiety. And it's not like I'm gonna get fired. It's not to that scenario. It's just that when I get stressed at work, if I feel like I'm not doing good enough, my anxiety kicks in. And what my anxiety does is that it imagines the worst case scenarios in my life, and that imagination emerges with my reality, and I feel like I'm already living that worst case scenario. So I was like, okay, I need to find a plan B in case this work does not do good or does not do well in the future. And I don't think it's ever gonna happen, but I feel like at some point I'm gonna get tired of working so hard that I just want to do something that I'm passionate about. But at the same time, I'll generate some revenue because everyone needs an income. You have bills to pay, and I have family to support. And I can be like a bit of high maintenance. I need to paint the wall and change the door because this room is worn out. Yeah, so I finally decided, and I just want to share that this story because I feel like people like in my age, like our life revolves at work a lot, especially if you put so much with your work that if it doesn't do well enough, you feel like you're worthless, and it should not be the case. I know that some people would say, well, your self-worth is whatever you put your worth, or whatever you decide. And honestly, in reality, it's not like that. I can't just wake up and be like, oh, I'm a 10 out of 10. There has to be a logic why I feel the way I feel. Of course, I am important, but I'm a work, and if I'm not doing enough work with myself, I can't just say I'm good. I hope that makes sense. I try to put it to words, but I hope you guys get what I mean. Yeah, I'm gonna get on my day. And yeah, as I was saying, this shirt is just, it makes me so big for some reason, but I so like it because it's so comfortable. I'm gonna be back.